You are listening to the Salvywood Podcast.
Hi everyone, my name is Saul Rodas and welcome to Salvadoran podcast. Today I am joined by none other than Luisa. Hi Luisa, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you for having me.
So Luisa, tell me a little bit about your experience with Vale Show.
So I currently am the digital content creator for Vale Show, which is a morning show here in LA. It's a Cali 93.9. I don't know if you guys have heard of that, but yeah, it's an amazing show, and working with Angelica Vale has been like a blessing. Honestly, she is one of the easiest talents that I've ever had to work with, which is great. And doing digital content is, you never know who you're gonna get, or the kind of different videos that you have to shoot and film and edit. But Angelica has made it so much fun. Like, my job has been so much fun from the first day that I started. Working with her, yeah, it's been a lot of fun. But my job in whole, I go to work every morning, and obviously, and so I go to work and I look online, you know, the trending stories, trending topics.
Right.
I pick a couple like trending news stories, you know, I end up posting that on across all our social media platforms.
Okay.
I really enjoy my job, just doing social media content creation and producing content, and she's an awesome person to do it.
Yeah. I actually, one time I had the chance to see her on a red carpet, and it's I like her dynamic, her personality, and it really shows, and it projects through the radio waves, because I grew up watching her in was it La no Betty La I forget what
La
Femme Bella. Yeah, and so I grew up watching her there, and I was so happy that she had a radio, that she got the radio station. And
yeah, it's freaking amazing, and I love her too. That show is amazing. I think I watched actually the original one, the best.
Oh yeah, the one before.
I think that was a Colombiana. Colombia.
Yeah, I think it is. Yeah.
But when Angie did it, she like brought a whole different life to the character.
She did. Yeah.
So I actually know her from Soñadoras, which is, I don't know if you ever watched that novela.
I've heard of it, but I didn't see it.
Or Amigas y Rivales.
That one I did. Yeah.
So these are really cultural things as well.
Right.
For me growing up, working with her has been, it's just like an awe, the fact that I get to sit in there every morning,
right,
create content, and just post on social.
I noticed you went to, was it Premios Juventud in Miami?
Premio Lo Nuestro.
Oh, Premio Lo Nuestro. How was that experience like?
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
It's stressful. Okay, so I've gone twice already.
Okay.
This year was my second time going. I will say the first time I went, I was extremely nervous.
Okay.
I felt, you know how the famous saying, like, imposter syndrome. That kind of was my whole look on things, because I was going kind of blindsided. I didn't know necessarily what I was going to be capturing. I just knew I was going to capture her as content for the show, and then also not being vocal enough to speak out and say, oh, I want to do this, let's do this, I need to film you here,
nice, yeah,
give me these you know, a teaser for whatever the case may be.
Right.
But that was my first year, and this time going back this year, I told myself, no, you belong there. You're a freaking badass social media person, and you're gonna get all the content that you want.
Right.
And I think going into it with that mentality, where I was seeing all these moments happening, and I wasn't shy to pick up my phone and record, you know.
Yeah.
It was completely different. The numbers that were from the very first time I went to Premio Lo Nuestro,
right,
second time, I want to say, like, not even double. They
exceeded.
Like, I had 10 times over.
Right.
So it was amazing, and I think just like the confidence that I got going the second time. So the second time, I enjoyed it so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now, when you, let's say for example, when you went the second time, do you already pre-plan like what you're gonna do, or do you feel like it's more of like a direction that you see the day of, and then you're like, okay, let's do this?
Yes.
Okay.
I have both.
Okay.
So I do small pre-plan in
Okay.
the sense
Perfect.
of videos that I think would make sense.
Right.
For example, we already know that she's going to be getting ready. She was one of the hosts. So that's an obvious, so that I knew that I was going to film her like getting ready,
Right.
like a quick transition, a fun transition.
Okay.
She's already ready. Like
Right.
those are videos that you kind of already have in your mind as like a fact, as
Right.
okay, I'm gonna do get ready with me's, fun transition, videos with her family, like her and her family. So those are all videos that I already knew I was gonna do.
Okay.
But the moments, like just trying to get in moments of the whole show. So I always say that whatever outlet you're working for, even your personal,
Yeah.
you are like the window that your whole followers and viewers and
True.
people that want to see into this world,
Right.
you are that window. So you are giving them the like space and window to see into this world.
Okay.
So what do you want them to see, kind of? And that's
Right.
that's my take on it, and that's how I kind of move through capturing moments. And I
Okay.
think myself as a viewer, and I think, okay, as a viewer, I would like to see backstage content. I would like to see interactions between different artists. Like, how does Don Omar interact with, I don't know, Machine Gun Kelly? You know,
Sure.
like
Yeah.
and they perform together.
Right.
That would be cool to see backstage. That
Right.
those. So I always put myself as the viewer, not necessarily just as the producer of all creating all the content. And I think that's also been very helpful to remind myself that I'm also a viewer and that I'm able to see, okay, what do I think that people would want to see, and also what would resonate and what will last and what they will share. Like, oh my God, look at this. 'Cause you also have to think about engagement and how they're going to share that content, because they may like it, but will they share it? It's another thing that I think about. So mainly, so I do both things. I kind of pre-plan, and I think, okay, this is get ready with me is that's a given.
Okay.
On camera, fun little moments, but when we get there is when I like get to see, okay, this is going to be a moment. I want to capture this.
Okay.
So it's both.
Now, tell me a little bit about how you land at La Vale Show, and just your early journey in journalism. How was that like?
So I always, I went to Marshall. I don't know if anyone knows this, but like Marshall is Marshall High School. It's just a regular high school. It's in Los Feliz area.
Okay.
But I really wasn't doing much there. And I had always loved theater and acting. And I always wanted to be, I knew I wanted to be in the arts.
Okay.
Marshall didn't have that.
Okay.
And I remember one day I was coming home. I was a junior in Marshall, and I went and I got home and they had this pamphlet. It was on my kitchen table. This is why I say God. Okay, I'm small tangent. This is why I think everything happens for a reason, and God knows exactly like the path. Like in His timing, everything is perfect.
Definitely.
Okay, so I get home and then I see this pamphlet. It said Hollywood High, and it was talking about performing arts magnet programs.
Okay.
And so the one that I received was a performing arts magnet, and I thought, wow, that's so strange. So I opened the pamphlet and I see all the different arts that they provided, which is dance, singing, like choir.
Right.
They also have theater, acting, and I think those were the three that we had: dancing, singing, acting. If I'm not mistaken, I don't think there was a fourth one. Production, like scenes, like
media production.
Yeah, in production, like sets on stage, you're crafting different for our theater productions. Like those were the four. I knew there was four. So I was like, this is really cool. And I told my mom, I was like, hey, I would really like to go to this. And there was an open house. We went to this open house, not open house, open house for schools.
Okay.
And we ended up going there. And I just remember falling in love, and I felt like I belonged here.
Okay.
So junior year, I knew I didn't have any friends. I didn't care. I was like, okay, we're going to transfer. So thank goodness they accepted me. I transferred over to Hollywood High. Okay. And that's where my love, I always loved theater, but that's where like my love for the arts really, really, really started. Okay. And I met different people that were working in the industry, like sons and daughters, like my classmates of different producers and actors, and mainly producers. And so I would go over to their house, and I experienced a whole nother life of this like industry world that I didn't know existed. I remember I was a PA on set at 18. Like,
nice.
Actually, I had barely turned 18, but it was my friend's mom. She was a script supervisor for this show. It didn't get released, but it was in this show. And the director to that show was oh gosh, I forgot the name. He directed A Cinderella Story. With Hilary Duff. He also directed, I think, The Perfect Man with is it Heather Locklear? But he's a very big director. And I remember being 18 and thinking, wow, this is like literally for me. So I went to SMC. I transferred to community college and I did a bunch of theater classes. Then I transferred to LACC. Like my path has been kind of windy, but I always knew it was in the arts. I knew something in the arts. I just knew. And so I spent like maybe a year and a half just kind of dabbling in different like theater classes, but I loved it, but it wasn't sticking. It didn't feel like me. And I remember one day I was watching the Oscars and my mom's friend says, Luisa, every time I come, I always see you watching award shows and I always see you, like just literally stuck on the TV. Right. Especially E! News, Juliana Rancic. Like I love her. I hope to meet her one day. And I was like, oh, I know. It's just, I love it so much. That's something I want to do. I just don't know. I don't know what that is. And she goes, that's journalism. And I said, what? No one ever talked to me about journalism. No one ever, never, ever. So I looked at her and I said, what? And she said, that's journalism. That's broadcast journalism. And it was like if a light bulb just like lit. I can't even explain it. It was like a lightning just struck and I just knew. And I remember that was a Sunday. And on Monday, I was with my counselor and I said, hey, how do I get to broadcast journalism? How can I transfer into that? Right. We did the whole class schedule. And he said, you can transfer in 1 year to CSUN if you take all these classes. And I said, let's do it. So summer, fall, winter, and spring, I had no breaks. I was taking as much classes as I could per semester. Right. And I graduated from not SMC, LACC. So many politics. I graduated from SMC with 2 AA degrees. Clearly, I took so many classes. And I went to CSUN. I transferred as a broadcast journalism degree to CSUN, and I got it into the world of like entertainment. Kind of that's the niche that I wanted. Right. Entertainment, and it was like it was just up from there. That literally was what sparked everything. And
one of the things, or at least that I've experienced, is growing up in a Salvadorian family. I've had experiences where people, I don't know about if you had these similar experiences of where like they want you to become a doctor, a nurse, and they don't, either they dismiss or they see the arts as like something not, like not, like you'll be broke. I've heard people say that. For young girls that are watching, what would you suggest or what would you advise them that want to tap into the arts? In the arts? In general, for broadcasting,
anything, anything. Being on camera and all.
Correct.
Well, first I would say don't listen to that because I'm like a religious or spiritual person. I believe whether people want to say a higher being, I call it God, but other people may call it energy or a higher being, whatever people want to call it. I think that God placed those thoughts in your mind because it's meant to happen for you. And I say that because there's people that get ideas and they act and they go on to create such amazing things. Right. And I think that God has placed those ideas and thoughts in your mind for a certain reason. So I would say act on it and go for it and do it. It will be hard. I'm not going to say it was easy for me because it wasn't. But if you know like that's what you want to do, the money or all the struggles and the troubles will not matter because you know your end goal. You know where you want to get to. Right. And so I would say do it because if not, you're going to just be miserable. True. I think so I would tell these girls, go for it, do it. If they need advice, they can DM me. But also, one of the things that helped me a lot was Googling. Because again, my parents, they were immigrants. They immigrated here to the United States, and so they didn't know. There was no way they could teach me. And the only reason why I even knew about this industry, one, my mom's friend who told me about broadcast journalism.
Right.
Two, my classmates in Hollywood High, who I saw their families. I was going to their house. I was going to seeing how they lived, you know, being a PA on different sets.
Being exposed.
Yeah, that's the word.
Yeah.
And just being exposed, expose yourself. And in my time, I did everything for free. I mean, everything was free. So that was because I knew what I wanted to do. So I knew that if I kind of acted I don't want to say entitled, but if I acted in a way where it was like, well, I need to get paid. I'm going to do this because I need to get paid.
Right.
Well, I had to start somewhere. Like I don't have the resources like other people may have, like parents or you know, that can help me. So I needed to just start from the very, very bottom. And I did PA jobs completely free. I was on like, I think like 4 different sets.
Okay.
And it was all free. And I just pray to God, and somehow it just always worked out.
Right.
And so I would say just go for it.
Just go for it. I like that. I think that's one of the things that you get fogged up with the idea of whether you still want to commit to it or not. It definitely happened to me, and it has happened to a lot of my colleagues. So I absolutely agree. Now, if you could tell me a little bit about your background. This is Salvawood, so it's a platform where we want to amplify Salvadorian communities, Salvadorian guests. And if you could share with us a little bit about that.
Yes. So my mom is a Salvadorian. My dad is from Mexico, and my mom is from El Salvador. I live with my mom. I never met my dad, so my Mexican roots, I don't necessarily know them. I grew up my whole life knowing my Salvadorian roots.
Okay.
And when I was born here, and when I was 1, my mom sent me and my brother to El Salvador. So I lived there for 5 years.
Okay.
So my first language was Spanish. Everything that I knew was in El Salvador. It's a funny story. One of my neighbors says that when we came and I was 5, there was like the troca de ice cream.
Oh, yes.
And she says that when I don't remember saying this, but that when I came, I was going to order like ice cream. And the guy said, $1. And I told him, puchica, me quiere robar el piso. And so my neighbor was laughing because she's like, oh, like she's a little Salvadorian girl.
Right.
But because I'm using piso, you know, over there we say it's
money,
and puchica.
Hey, you know what? It's funny because right now that you mentioned your experience with ice cream, mine happened the complete opposite. So my dad takes me when I'm in kinder, and then I go to the gentleman selling it, and I tell him, "Me puede dar un ice cream?" And then he's like, he turns to my dad. I didn't say sorbete, but I said ice cream. Me puede dar un ice cream? And then he turns to my dad, and then he's like, ¿Qué es lo que quiere el niño or something like that? Oh, el cipote. He's like, ¿Qué quiere el cipote? And I'm like, and then I looked at my dad, and my dad's like, oh, quiere.
Well, it was like sorbete.
It would be sorbete, yeah, but I said ice cream, so.
Yeah, he's even now, I'll say sorbete, and one of our co-hosts, Sergio, he's like, ¿Qué es sorbete? And I was like, helado? And I was like, un helado? In Mexico, like for Mexico, it's helado.
Right.
Or nieve.
Nieve.
Nieve. Yeah. And but it's just funny, the different words mean different things.
When was the last time you went to El Salvador?
Oh, I just came back, actually.
Okay.
I went for my birthday, and it was amazing. I think this trip was like one of my first trips where I was able to like just indulge. I went by myself.
Oh, nice.
I booked a lot of different little hotels by the beach, you know, by the mountains, the cafetales.
Oh, yeah.
So, yeah. Okay. And it was just beautiful. I think to take in the country's beauty. And in my Instagram, I don't know if you saw, but I wanted to highlight how beautiful Salvador is, because at one point it was the most dangerous country in the whole world.
Murder capital. Yeah.
Exactly. And so now to finally be at the other side of that, where it's the safest country in the Americas. Yeah. It's like, what? You would never think that could happen, especially in such a short time period. Right. So I really wanted to highlight how beautiful everything was. And I stayed there for like, I think 2 weeks.
Okay. Oh, that's a really good
time. In April.
Okay. Now, what are your thoughts on the administration? Because I feel like that has a lot to do with the change, tourism, and mainly I would say the Salvadoran pride that has.
Yes, I think personally, and I've said this before, I feel like you're more prideful to be Salvadorian now.
Right.
And I think, at least from what I've seen, you take pride into, wow, that's my country. Like that's where my mom is from. That is where my parents are from.
Right.
There's something to look forward to. I think before, because everyone was fleeing the war, there was really nothing to look back to, and it wasn't looking good. I mean, the gangs had taken control over the whole country.
Right.
And so even if it looks like, oh, the government is, I don't want to say safe, but that the government is in power, but truthfully, are they? Because I know that they were paying the gangs and a bunch of other political things that were happening behind the scenes that the general public was not seeing.
Right.
Now it's completely different, and it's so amazing to say, yeah, I'm from El Salvador. So I feel like our pride has gotten a little bit better.
Right.
In my opinion.
Okay.
And I love the administration. I think
yeah.
I think they're doing a great job.
Right.
Yeah.
Definitely a huge change from the previous years. And like you mentioned, it's just a short amount of time that everything has drastically changed. And I think I know a lot of my family and friends that they're recently going. I went with my brother not too long ago. Last time he went was almost 26 years ago. So it was, and he also was there and went to school for 3 to 4 years. So it was cool to see him relive that childhood and go through that.
Today's episode is sponsored by Health Z Lot Catering. If you've been trying to eat healthy but don't want to go out shopping or have to do any cooking, this is for you. They offer a new menu every week, and their meals keep your health and taste buds in mind. Unlike other meal prep services, their proteins are wood-fired and all served with a side of sautéed vegetables. Mix-match your meals to ensure your lunch doesn't get boring week after week. Weekly meal packages are only $80, and they are offering Salvi Wood listeners 10% off on their first order through the month of September.
How has your Salvadorian heritage shaped your perspective in journalism?
I would say the main thing that I can think of, at the top of my head, is just highlighting El Salvador in a better light.
Yes.
Like making sure that people see the country and the people as not, stealers.
True.
Say stealers, like, que roban.
Yeah.
Gente que no roba.
Yeah.
I mean, which there's in every single country.
True.
But I know that a lot of the jokes are very like, Salvadorians are thieves. And just highlighting how beautiful the country is. It's small, but it's beautiful, and how our coffee tastes delicious because it's our mountains, and our volcanoes make it taste so great. Like, so I think that's how it's kind of shaped wanting to highlight El Salvador differently.
Okay.
And just in a positive light.
During your journey being in Vale Show, have you covered any Salvadorian events recently or that you could think of?
Kind of think. The most recent, the one that I do remember I covered was, I think it was Salvi's Who Lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
It was a lot of fun to do. It was in Hollywood, and I remember stepping into the area. It was this pretty courtyard.
Okay.
And just to hear everyone speak in Spanish, and to know that everyone is, to speak in, the Foley accent. It was funny, but it was in a good way. It just felt like home.
Right.
And so I covered that event, and I think his name is Navarro, the journalist.
Okay.
Navarro, Telemundo.
Okay.
On Navarro.
I don't recall his name, but I do.
Yeah,
I know who you're talking about.
Navarro.
Yeah.
Last name, but he's a Salvadorian as well from
Right.
Telemundo, Canal 52.
Yeah.
And to me, he spoke and we watched this film, and it was really nice just to connect and to see other Salvadoreños, really trying to make a name for themselves in this industry, because there's not a lot of Salvies in this industry.
Right.
And so to see so many people come together for a Salvi event was really nice. And so that's the one that I like really remember and resonate with.
Mm-hmm. The most.
Yeah, the most.
I think, and going back to the whole Salvadoran pride, I think what I've noticed is lately you see a lot more social events. I think there's one coming up. I don't know if you're going to go to it, but there's they do the Dodger Salvadoran night.
Oh, yes.
So
I haven't been there.
No, yeah. And then I think Galaxy, sometimes they'll host theirs as well. So it's pretty interesting to see those events come to life and see the community. We're considered the second biggest Latino community in LA. Yeah.
In LA, Mexico is the biggest community here in LA, and then is Salvadorians under Mexico. Yeah.
True.
So it's nice, and being part of both communities, it's really nice.
Right.
And I would love to highlight El Salvador again, just to make people see that El Salvador is beautiful. It's so little, but it's so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah. She's cute.
Right? Would you consider having a heavy Salvadoran accent? What do you think? At home, do you find yourself?
No, actually, I think that my accent is very Mexican.
Yeah. Okay.
But then my Mexican friends say, no, it's not. But my Salvadorian family says, oh, you sound Mexican. And so I don't know. It's very hard for me, because for me, it's I just take a little bit of both, and what I've learned and the things that I like, and so for me, it's just an eclectic accent. I think that's the next way of saying it.
True. You mentioned that you're Salvadorian and Mexican. Have you gone to Mexico? And if so, which locations have you got?
Yeah, I have actually. I've been to Mexico.
Right.
I've been to Ciudad de Mexico, which I love.
Okay.
I've been to Guadalajara.
Okay.
And I've been to Mazatlan. Sinaloa, Mazatlan. And if I rank them, I've been to TJ too. So, but that's Rosarito, and I feel like that's just it's Mexico, but it's really the U.S. So if I were to rank, I would say Mazatlan would be my number one. Yeah. I love Mazatlan. If you want to party and have a good time and with good people, and people are not there to judge you, no one is there to, literally everyone is there to have a great time. Right. Go to Mazatlan. Oh, okay. And so Mazatlan, and then Ciudad de Mexico, which I love. And I've gone to Ciudad de Mexico mainly for work. Okay. When I was Angelica, I've gone for work or to see her in her show. So that's fun. And Guadalajara, which we went to Tequila, the Tequila tour. Yeah. That was a lot of fun, and that would be my third choice.
Third choice, okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, going back to your career in journalism, what do you see Luisa in 5 years? How do you envision yourself? You're like, wait.
Okay, in 5 years, I see myself in a bigger network. Okay. I want to be in NBC or CBS or CBS is Paramount, but or ABC, which is Disney. Just any of a bigger network, working in a entertainment show on the digital side, and covering red carpets, covering the Oscars. I think that would be a dream of mine, is to cover the Oscars and ask Anne Hathaway, I don't know, just assuming, but ask Anne Hathaway, you look amazing tonight, and she's nominated, let's say. And just asking her about her film, doing fun games socially that I know will get interaction, and just interviewing her or interviewing any other celebrity or, actor, actress, director, producer. And I think that's when I'll be like, wow. That was the main thing that I see, just in a bigger network, covering red carpets, the Oscars, Emmys, Grammys, doing behind the scenes content and everything for a digital platform. So streaming, whether it's on Peacock or streaming on, any other network, but on the streaming digital side.
Okay.
And that's what I see myself doing.
Now,
That would be mine. Like, I'm here. You made it.
you made it.
Yeah.
I feel like you made it already. You've done. We've had the chance to work a couple of times. And what stays with me the most is covering both La Leaf and when you interviewed William Levy. I think that was a fun experience.
It was at the London Hotel in Hollywood.
Correct. Yeah.
The food was okay. So production, no, just kidding. But yeah, it was a very fun experience, and I remember thinking, okay, who is like good and is very good at, because I think my brain is, I'm so busy doing so many things.
Yeah.
My brain is like works on multiple tasks. So I just thought, who understands me? Who have I worked with before? And who knows like kind of what I want and how it'll be executed. And I literally was like, Saul, I need to reach out to him and ask him. And so so it was both fun experiences.
Do you have like a specific experience or interaction with a celebrity that you stayed starstruck that you could recall?
Starstruck? Okay.
Have you had that experience?
Yeah. So, well, it's going to sound so cheesy, and I promise I'm like not. Like, this is the truth.
Okay.
It would be Angelica Vale. Like, I'm not saying it because I work with her.
Yeah.
It's just, that was my first job. So, and I'm still there. So, this is my third year.
Okay.
Working on Vale Show. But when I first started, I was an intern.
Okay.
And so when I was an intern for Nick Cannon, the morning show, even though Power 106 and Cali, where I am now, we're sister stations. So it's like we're a door away.
Right.
We're in the
same building.
Same building, same floor.
Okay.
So we're right next to each other.
Okay.
But that environment was so different than working with Angelica. But on my first day of going into the studio with Angelica, I thought I was going to be in the same environment as I was with Nick and the other people in that show.
Right.
And it wasn't the best. It was pretty toxic. Like, it was not a good environment.
Okay.
It was an environment where you're an intern and don't talk to us, like, do your job type of thing.
Okay.
And so I thought that, and I knew that there were stories about this industry being that way.
Right.
So I was already kind of expecting that when I got hired.
Okay.
But the moment that I went into the Cali studio with Angelica Vale and Jose Quintero, it was just us three at first.
Nice.
I remember first I was scared. Second, I was like, do it anyway, even if you're scared. I walked in, I just smiled, I said hi, and they were so nice. Like from day one, they've always been so nice. And Jose was so gracious with me because there was moments where I messed up. Like, and no one is gonna be 100% perfect. And what I mean by mess up, it could be, hey, you tagged the wrong person. Hey, that sentence is not correct in Spanish.
Right.
And it like kind of correcting my Spanish.
Right.
And Angelica too, she was so sweet and so kind, and I've never worked with anyone as gracious and as understanding as her. Because I can mess up, but she understands. Like on a human level, I can't even explain it to you because I've worked with other artists that are at her level, maybe a bit bigger. And I don't know any names, but it's very different.
Okay.
It's very elitist, very, you work for me, get this done. I don't care what you're doing, get it done. I need it now, as opposed to Angelica, it's more understanding. She's more of a human. And I feel she has been the best person. And I thank God because he knew where to place me for my journey and how I can learn in the most gracious way. And so I'm super thankful. Like I'm just thankful to be there and to have learned everything I have learned with her and the rest of the team that is there as well. So that's my best artist.
Yeah. Walk us through that experience of you applying. How was that experience like? Was it a challenge at first?
Yes. So applying for the job, yes, because it was COVID. So
that's tough.
It was tough.
Yeah.
But I had the internship prior. Thank God they were sister companies.
Right.
And something about me is, and if I can give advice to anyone out there, always keep your connections, always say hi to people, always you don't know who you're talking to. You don't know who a person is associated with. Even if you think like, oh, they look like bitches. I don't know if I can say that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, that's
You don't know who you're talking to. So
right.
be as gracious as you can be. Understand that people may have their days, and bad days, and good days.
Right.
So, and also connect with everyone if you can.
Right.
Because, and I say that to say this, when I was an intern in Power, even though it wasn't like the best, I learned a lot. I'm not gonna lie, they throw you in there and you learn a lot. I got screamed at my very first day for something I didn't even do, for something I didn't even know I was supposed to do.
Okay.
So like that goes to show you how like kind of cutthroat it was there.
Yeah.
But it was a learning experience. So I like had to learn really, really fast.
Right.
And but anyway, I said hi to everyone. I would just be and be yourself, of course.
Right.
And thankfully, in that process, I was able to get the email of our digital director at the time. And so I got his email, but I wasn't using it or anything. I just had it in my like my Rolodex or whatever you want to call. I don't know what it's called now.
Yeah.
My contacts.
Yeah, absolutely.
So they let us all go. COVID happened as we all got let go. So I didn't finish my last, because I was interning for 1 whole year. But I was in my third semester interning with them, and that was my last semester. Okay. And so they let us go March. So I had like two months before that like semester finished. Anyway, so they let everyone go. COVID happened, lockdown. Okay. And I graduated. I didn't go back, but I remembered that I had his email. So I told myself, okay, Luisa, you're going to email him. And so I did. I sent a nice email, I think in October of that same year. And I sent the email to him and just reaching out saying, hey, this is Luisa, I would love to apply for a position. There was no position open. Yeah. And but he never responded. So I sent the first email. And then I told myself, okay, I don't want to be too annoying. I wanted to give time. So I said, once a month, I'm going to send an email. Okay. So that's what I did. That was my strategy.
I love it.
So once a month, I would send the email to the same director. Right. His name is Jeffrey Thacker. He's amazing. And every month I would put in a new idea, a new concept. So it would be, the first one was just the introduction, kind of like, hey, I would really love to go back with you guys, to intern or shadow. And no response. I did that for 6 months. Okay. I'm trying to don't want to get too into it, but for 6 months, once a month, I would send an email. Okay. Different ideas and concepts that I thought of socially and I executed. I would send him analytics and things that I thought, hey, this will work if we do this for, Power. In that time, there was no opening for Cali. I wasn't even thinking of Cali. So all my emails were tailored to Power. That's it.
Was Angelica there, or had they announced already, or?
Yeah, she was already there. Oh, okay. But in my mind, I wasn't even thinking of because the only thing I knew was Power. Right. And I remember I would from time to time check the website. Okay. And then I saw in the website that, and again, he still to this day didn't respond, right? Right. And it was 6 months in, and on the 6th month, I saw there was an opening for Cali. Okay. And I took a screenshot and I sent it in the email. I said, I would really love to apply to this position. I think I'm a great fit. I sent him again my resume. Every email, I attached my resume. Right. And at the cover letter, and I said, I need to apply all of the things that I've been sending you into this position. Okay. And that week, he emailed me back, and I was like, oh my God, that was 6 months of not knowing, of literally just throwing into darkness of not knowing if he's even getting my emails, if he even cares, if he even likes me. Right. The one thing that kept me going was this. I told myself, he has not said no. Right. So if he has not said no, that means that there's still a possibility. Right. Because if it would have been a no, he would have said, hey, thank you so much, but we don't have any openings yet. Right. Yeah, my emails were just getting sent, but I didn't know, if there was openings or not, or anyway, so he finally responds to me, and that is how the whole process, the ball started rolling. And I did 3 interviews with them for the Cali position. Yeah. Okay. I interviewed with him. I interviewed with the music director at the time. Okay. And then I interviewed with, who was the third one? Oh, and then the VP of all brands. Like, so that interview with him was stressful. I mean, that was like just asking me, what is the demographic? What do you think Cali's demo is? The content that you're going to be posting, who do you think you're going to be posting for? Who's the person watching behind the phone? And I remember I was just like, but the same with him, keeping up and like throwing facts and telling him, okay, this is the demographic that I think, this is what I believe, I am the demographic. And that's another thing that helped. Being a Latina for a Latino station, it's like, well, I am part of the demographic. So I know best on who I'm serving in the community socially, and so I remember so 3 interviews done, and then a week passes by and I hear nothing. And I was like so stressed out, and I was like, oh my God, I guess I didn't get it. And I was like, and I sent a follow-up email. I remember sending an email within the 24-hour period of, you apply somewhere and you send the email saying, thank you so much to all 3 of them.
Right.
I didn't hear back from any of them. A week passes by and I was like, oh my God. And I'm Googling again. Google was my best friend. I was like, what happens if they don't send you a response and you send a follow-up email? And so Google, I was just like reading words, and it said, and I remember I saw one that said, if they don't respond in your follow-up, like your thank you email, you can send one exactly a week after.
Okay.
And so say like, hi, I just wanted to check in how the status and how whatever.
Yeah.
So I did that, and I still didn't hear back.
Right.
And then I remember, I think it was like a couple of days later, I was like sitting on my couch, and it was like a moment where I just thought to myself, this is not, I guess it's not going to work out. And I was like really sad. I just thought to myself, okay, well, like, maybe this is just not going to work out for me. And in that moment, I remember getting up. We have a water like dispenser.
Okay.
And right next to our water dispenser, there's like a little mesita, like a table.
Yeah.
Not like this, but something similar.
Right.
And there was a magazine right on top. And the magazine was the Portada de Angélica Vale.
Okay.
And it was El Aviso. Do you know El Aviso?
Yeah.
Okay, so it was
So
El Aviso.
you got that. Okay.
But look at this. We had not gotten the aviso for years. I mean, because my grandma comes and goes to El Salvador, so she's not with us all the time. And the only one that reads that magazine is grandma.
Okay.
And she wasn't there at the time. Like, she wasn't even in our house.
Okay.
So when I was pouring the water, I remember seeing the aviso, and I looked at my mom and I said, oh, did you just grab the aviso? And she's like, sí, lo vi, and me lo traje a la casa. And so I was like, but in the moment of my doubt of, I guess this isn't for me, whatever, that was like kind of it solidified the moment of, no, Lisa, you need to trust, and not everything's going to happen at the time that you want it to happen, but it'll happen.
Right.
And so I was like, whoa, that's kind of like freaky, whatever. And so then, but it was a moment of, I was like, okay, just the universe and God telling me, like, relax, like, it's okay, it's gonna happen. And sure enough, 2 days later, I got the phone call, hey, we would like you to come in, and to like pretty much like meet the team, just to see how it, just to see like the feel of it. And they had not like offered me anything yet.
Oh, okay.
So I was like, okay. And so then the next day, I was talking to my mom, and she said, you know what? Let me look her up, because my mom was telling me about her mom, and I didn't necessarily know her mom, how big her mom was, Angelica Maria.
Okay.
And she's like, look, let me show you. So then she Googles Angelica's name. Do you want to know what her birthday is?
I do, yeah.
It's 11/11.
Oh, okay.
And so
enter numbers, yeah.
And I wear 111.
Yeah. Oh, wow.
So for me, that's a very significant
Yeah.
And I remember me and my mom looked at each other, and it was like, it's yours. And it was like angels, God, and everything just aligning me and telling me, like, it's yours. But I didn't give up. I kept going, and I was determined whether I was hearing a response or not. I just knew that it wasn't a no, because I didn't hear a no, and so finally when we were Googling, just getting more information on her, and her birthday obviously comes up when you Google any famous person. Right. And it was my moment and my mom's moment of, like, it's mine. Right. And sure enough, like that week I got the offer, and I that's how I started with them.
And accepted.
Yeah.
I think that's, you bring up a good point about how you have to be committed to it. You have to stick to it and make sure that no matter what's yours is yours. Yeah. And in this case, it definitely was yours from the beginning. And I think that that's very important for a lot of people, especially young people that want to tap into the industry, because I feel like you need to have a lot of tough skin.
Oh,
you'll receive so many rejections left and right.
Oh.
And if you don't commit to it, whether it's a gig or in this case, getting an assignment, getting this opportunity, I think it's amazing when you have that. One of the things that you tapped into that I found interesting was the demographic. So when they're interviewing you, you mentioned how they were asking you what's the demographic that our company offers to our viewers. Now, when you compare that to the experience with Power 106, was it, I guess, when you would approach your marketing strategy or your social media strategy, what would you say, how different was it between each other?
Between Power and like Cali?
And Cali, yeah.
Well, I think they can intersect.
Okay.
Because LA is very Hispanic culture.
True.
But they're pretty different in the sense of, for Latinos, a Latino household, Spanish is more dominant than English. And so the good thing, obviously I'm Latina, so I was able to pull from that and know, hey, this is me. Like, I'm literally representing me.
Yeah.
So it was in a way easy. To be able just to kind of answer all the questions they were asking me.
Right.
But for Power, I would have just reiterated, like, this is LA, it's a melting pot. And so I know the demographic because I was born and raised in LA.
Right.
So this is my city. This is, all the people that I grew up with as well, the music that I grew up with, and this is LA. And so that's how you just kind of try to pull from personal experiences or experiences that you've lived,
right?
Especially doing content or being a producer for social media or anything digital. And I would say that just pull from things that you know,
okay,
and you can say, oh, I know because of this reason. I know because it's LA, because of whatever the case may be. And so that's what I used to help me with all these questions that I didn't know they were going to ask me.
Right. Okay. How do you plan to continue advocating for the Salvadoran community through your work of journalism?
The way that I see myself advocating for the Salvadoran community is through telling the stories, but in a positive light. I think many stories have been told, whether news, socially, YouTube, digitally, more in a not so positive light. And, the most dangerous country in the world, Las Maras Salvatrucha, like all those other gang-related things, that as I move on in my career, I want to emphasize to people, like, El Salvador is a beautiful place, and it's a growing place. We have amazing doctors, and amazing architects, and just to highlight the people in general and obviously our country as a whole. And so I will keep doing that through my social media, if and when it's possible, bringing, different Salvadorian artists, or it can be musicians, it can be different Salvadorian authors, and just giving them a light and highlighting their work. And I guess giving them a platform to be able to showcase who they are as a Latino, but also as a Salvadoreño, and just kind of be proud. And I think that is like one of the most important things, is providing a platform for those who don't have a platform.
Right.
And, to show, wow, they're, freaking badass.
Right.
Kind of like Indian Americans, they are, known to be doctors and, doctors, chiropractors, all in the medical field.
Right.
I would love to have that positive light beyond Salvadoreños as well.
I like that. Now, before we sign off, what is your favorite pupusa?
Oh my God. You that?
Were you going to ask me?
Yeah. Okay, so my favorite for a long time has always been pupusa de maíz.
Okay, yeah.
Queso con frijol.
Queso con frijol.
But pupusa de arroz, oh my gosh, it's more of like chewier texture.
Right.
Mom's sweater. I just love the chewy texture of pupusa de arroz.
Okay.
And again, queso con frijol. So for me, it's just queso con frijol or loroco.
Okay.
I'm not a meat eater per se.
Okay.
In terms of the revuelta.
Oh, yeah. Chicharrón. Yeah.
Can't do it.
No? Okay.
No.
Yeah.
So for me, it would be queso con frijol.
Queso con frijol.
Number one, all the way. And if they can stuff that,
Right.
even better.
As you break it in half,
Mm-hmm.
use your fingers or forks?
Okay. On it.
Oh, no. I'm kidding.
Fingers in El Salvador and a fork.
What do you hear?
Judge me for worrying not. My uncle, we were at a family party and
Right.
I was eating with a fork.
Mhm.
And my uncle from across the freaking party screams and goes, "No se usan tenedores." And I was like, and I started telling him, but I do both.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Do you know how to make pupusas? Or have you tried? Have you ever tried?
Absolutely.
No?
That's
Okay.
so hard. And
Yeah.
you know what? I realized that within our community, not a lot of women know how to do pupusas.
Interesting. I didn't know that.
There's always one, at least within my close relatives and family.
Oh, okay.
There's always one that knows how to do the pupusas.
Right.
Everyone goes to her house.
To
Or
make-
or she goes to whoever's house. And it's like, that's the one person that knows how to make pupusas. But in the general scheme of things,
Mm.
Salvadoran women don't necessarily know how to make pupusas. At least not in my family.
Right.
What about yours? Do your does your mom, your grandma, do they all know how to make a pupusa?
My sister knows, but we resort to my mom a lot. And I think it's kind of similar to that, like how they'd rather have one designated person
Yeah.
present. So I
Exactly.
think that's interesting. I think we should have more classes of like how to make it, you know?
I know, because it's hard.
Yeah.
I've tried it myself.
Right.
It comes super bread,
Okay.
a little bit of it's
Like the filling?
that. The filling is not even the way that they distribute the whole filling and everything.
Yeah,
And look it all together. It's like, oh,
And quick, right?
best.
It's like,
Yeah. Yeah.
And then one last question: pollo campero or pollo con pas? Is it con pastor? Pollo con pastor. It's like the rival,
Yeah.
the rival chicken. I don't think you tried. Did you try?
So yes, when I was in El Salvador,
Yeah.
always pollo campero.
Really? Okay.
Yes,
Same.
110%.
Okay.
Like there's no, and then there's another one. I don't know if you knew. I think it's Boston
Oh.
and
No.
Nevada in El
No one-
Salvador.
Oh yeah. I did see that.
More solid than you.
Yeah, you are.
Okay, so there's 3 different ice cream competitors as well. I think it's Boston. It's
Yeah.
which was the former Pops.
I remember that. They were popular in LA. They would
Yeah.
give like a stamp, right?
Yeah.
And you would go. I do remember that.
Well, in El Salvador, so now it's
Yeah.
Boston is one of
Oh,
one,
okay.
one franchise, and then
Okay.
the other one I think it's La Nevada,
Yeah.
and it's always gonna be Boston for me.
Brilliant.
But it's Salvadoreños, if you know, you know. If you are in El Salvador, you will know.
Perfect.
So yeah, I picked Boston.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Where can we follow you on your socials?
So you can follow me on all socials at I'm Luisa Rodriguez. That's it. Yeah. And it's not IAM, it's IM.
Mm.
Because people might say like IAM. I don't know, just put a Lord.
Yeah, no, that's what I was saying. Is it the same for TikTok too? Say now.
TikTok too.
Perfect.
So Instagram and TikTok is I'm Luisa Rodriguez.
Perfect.
And if you have any questions or any advice you ladies may need or anyone, just feel free to send me a DM and I will help as best as I can.
Thank you, Luisa, for joining me today.
Thank you for having
Thank you for having the patience, because
Of course, no, this is amazing.
Thank you. And I wish you nothing but the best. And I hope
Bye.
to collaborate with you more.
Likewise.
Thank you.
You're an 10%.
Thank you. Well, thank you guys for joining us today. My name is Saul,
And I'm Lisa.
and this has been Salviwood. I'll see you guys on the next one.
This has been a Salviwood podcast presentation. Thank you for listening.